All right, welcome to TNT Sports Talk. Today is Thursday, October 11th. As always, we're presented by D's Home Cuts. I'm your host, Travis Korcheski, and we got Truman back in the studio today.
How's it going, guys?
We're also joined by Josh Gower, first-time guest.
What up, boys?
We've been trying to get both of them on for a while, but Truman hasn't been on since... You haven't done a full show in...
It's been a while.
Since August.
It's been a minute. I've been on that school grind.
Yeah,
so.
But Josh is going to help us talk a little hockey, but we're going to start with baseball because obviously the playoffs right now. The next round is set. We got Red Sox versus Astros and then Brewers versus Dodgers. I know Truman wants to talk a little bit about the Brewers in a minute. But we're going to start with Red Sox Yankees because the series just finished up. When was that? Yesterday? 2 days ago.
2 days.
Yeah. The Yankees lost that series. Red Sox played pretty well. Whatever you guys want to talk about this game.
I don't think the Yankees. I think the Red Sox played good, but I think the Yankees stunk it up.
Stanton's trash.
Everyone said that they would go to New York and they wanted Boston. And
We want Boston.
They chanted that and they kind of laid a dud down. They said that the Yankee Stadium would be the loudest it's ever been when they went there, but I don't think it was that loud when they were down 16-1.
Yeah.
So I think the Red Sox played good, but the Yankees played horrible.
Yeah. The Red Sox loss was like game 2. You had Judge walking past the dugout or the locker room playing that New York song, and then they just come back and they get smacked.
Yeah, they lost 20-4 or something. I think the third game the 2 games in New York they got outscored 20-4.
Yeah, and then the third game they had the position player. The Yankees pitched Roman, I think.
Yeah.
I
just like how the Red Sox brought in Chris Sale.
Yeah.
To shut down that 8th inning. That just showed that they did not want to deal with New York at all.
I would just like to say Yankees fans are probably the worst fans in
trash.
baseball.
They're the worst. And then they all talk about their 27 rings, and like 20 of those rings was before President John Kennedy. Yeah.
Before electricity.
Yeah. So, but we got Red Sox Astros. I did my prediction. I think the Red Sox will win this series.
I think the Astros will win it.
I'm thinking Red Sox.
You think Red Sox? I think the Red Sox are probably the best team left in this. They've been the best team all year.
If this shit's rigged, it's gonna be Red Sox Dodgers because
the two
that's
most
just BS. But I think it's gonna be Brewers Astros. But
so you're saying if the Brewers lose the series, you're gonna say it's rigged?
You
can't do that.
Wow.
It's setting up real. You're setting up for people. It'd just be the Red Sox Dodgers.
Okay, what if it's Dodgers Astros?
It won't.
Will you
rigged.
Still claim?
Although maybe they want to go for the second year in a row Dodgers Astros, but I don't know. But I'm going Brewers Astros as my World Series pick.
All right, we'll talk about the Brewers a little bit. I'm gonna let you go a little bit. Go ahead.
Go off.
Well, on this exact same show, I sat here midsummer. I think Brian Leonard, Cubs fan, we own them, sat across from me, and they said, I was like, oh, my NL Central pick is the Milwaukee Brewers, and everyone was like, you guys were like, Truman, you can't be biased. What are you talking about? The Brewers aren't winning the NL Central. They're like 5 games back. And I was like, okay, doubt me. And I doubt the Brewers. And guess what happened? We won the NL Central. So guess what you're going to do? You might do it as well. You're going to doubt the Brewers. You're going to say, the Dodgers are better than them. They got more talent than them. And I'm just going to say,
the Dodgers are the underdogs in this series.
I'm just going to say, you know what? You guys may be right. But I'm picking the Brewers, just like I picked them to win the NL Central. You guys may make fun of me, and the Brewers are going to prove you wrong. They're going to prove everyone wrong again. You're going to say, they don't have an ace. Well, we haven't had an ace all year, and we've done fine. We have the best bullpen in baseball. That's worked fine for us. They are on a whole week rest now.
So are the Dodgers.
They played an extra game than us, which I don't think that'll impact it, but we have the best bullpen in baseball, so right now it's Clayton Kershaw versus TBA because we don't know who we're starting. Because guess what? We don't really have a true starter. But we're going to play some bullpen games. We're going to throw Chaseen in there. We're going to throw Gio Gonzalez in there. We're going to throw Wade Miley in there. And we're going to do the same thing we've been doing all year and for the past month. Beating teams' asses up and down the field. And we're going to win the World Series.
So you're claiming World Series?
Yeah, I am.
But how can you say, you set yourself up like that, but, the Brewers are favored in this series? They're the number 1 seed.
I think most people are picking the Dodgers.
They're the number 1 seed, and Yelich has been going off.
Most people are picking the Dodgers. Puig's all over the freaking ESPN talking, we're going to sweep Milwaukee and win the World Series. So I think more coverage goes to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's
more
natural.
coverage goes to the Dodgers. The Brewers just sitting here like, you know what? We've won 11 games straight.
Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, we won 11 games straight. When the pressure was on, the Brewers performed at the highest level, and the pressure and the lights are brighter than ever in the NLCS, and they will be in the World Series. So the Brewers are going to be fine. And people think, the Brewers haven't been there before. They don't have any experience. But Mike Moustakas won a World Series. Lorenzo Cain won a World Series. Ryan Braun's been to the NLCS before. I think we have plenty of. Travis Shaw's been in the playoffs before. I think we have plenty of experience around the clubhouse. Craig Counsell's won 2 World Series, our manager. So I think there's plenty of an experience.
You guys are the least experienced team though in this.
There's plenty. Because the Astros just won the World Series. The Red Sox were the Red Sox, and the Dodgers were in it. But I think we're not inexperienced.
You're not inexperienced, but you are the least experienced.
Yeah, but we're also not. We're not like a young team with a bunch of young guys who's never been there before. Our whole Yelich hasn't been there before, but Braun's been there. Braun's been in the NLCS before. Lorenzo Cain just won a World Series. Mike Moustakas won a World Series. Travis Shaw's been in the playoffs before. I think Eric Kratz, our catcher, he's been around the league for a while. I think they're fine, and I think experience doesn't matter here because the Brewers aren't inexperienced.
All right, we're gonna move on to basketball. But before that, what team are you more scared of though? Red Sox, Astros?
I'm more scared of the Astros just in terms because I think the Astros have better pitching and that could shut down the Brewers' powerful lineup.
Okay. Well, we're going to move now to basketball. We only get basketball. I mean, we're still waiting on the season to open up. But we want to talk about Jimmy Butler. I know you guys probably heard about Jimmy Butler yesterday. Pretty exciting practice. I guess he showed up for practice. He took like the third-string guys, 4 third-string guys, and they beat a team of like Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler got into it a little bit, although it seems like Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't really want Jimmy Butler's smoke right now. And then I guess they had a meeting today, and it looks like Jimmy Butler will at least start the season with the Timberwolves, which is completely a flip from like last week when nobody thought he'd be with the Timberwolves. But I don't know, what do you think of this move showing up for practice? He cussed out the GM. He kind of talked shit to Tom Thibodeau.
It's a ballsy move, but I mean,
I like it.
He's the best player there. I think he's better. I think he's
Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns.
Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns and Wiggins are younger, but Butler's their franchise player, and he's how far the Timberwolves go is how far Jimmy Butler takes them. So I think he went up there with a little bit of swagger, and he showed them, stop disrespecting me. But at the same time, people aren't going to want to be his teammate if he does this. So I don't know. It's a weird move, but it's kind of cool to see because. I don't know.
Jimmy Butler runs that team now.
Yeah.
That is his team.
Yeah, he walked into practice yesterday and's like, this is my show now. It's been his show, I think, the entire season last year. He is the best player on that team.
I don't know, but he doesn't get enough respect, I think. But because, people talk about, Karl-Anthony Towns this, Andrew Wiggins.
He's going to get the respect now.
Yeah.
He demanded the respect yesterday, and he got it, I think.
He's a gamer. I like it. It's just like what Baker did to the Browns. He's a gamer. You need that kind of person in the locker room to kind of get the soft people out of there and start playing.
Mm-hmm. So, I think it's going to play it's going to go 2 ways here. Either Jimmy Butler's going to destroy this team, or guys like Karl-Anthony Towns and Wiggins will kind of rise up, take this as like a wake-up call, and play. Because Wiggins, he's good, he's talented, but he hasn't been as good as people thought coming out of the draft. He's been a good player, but he's not a franchise caliber player. I think Karl-Anthony Towns and him both have the ability to be franchise players, but they haven't shown it at all in their careers yet.
And honestly, the Timberwolves underperformed a lot last season. They were 8 seed, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They should have been higher. They have the talent on the team to be, even in the West, they have the talent. I say this, they have the talent to be a top 5 seed, maybe 3, 4, 5. They have the talent, and they did not perform like it last season. So maybe this will light a fire under them, and maybe they will perform better and be up to their talent.
Yeah, like I said, they had a players-only meeting today. Jimmy Butler called it, I guess. I would just, how much would you pay to watch that practice film from yesterday?
I would give some money for that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To see, then I guess Jimmy Butler, they made the winning shot, and he just, walked off the court, pointed to the GM, said, "You effing need me," and just walked off.
Gamer.
I love that.
That makes me fired up. I want to go play basketball right now. To take a team of, bench players. I saw some of the names I guess they were saying he played with, and these guys are nobodies. And to beat some the first string Timberwolves with just those guys, I mean that says something.
Yep, I mean it's really cool to see, and I think it's going to light a fire under the Timberwolves and Jimmy Butler, and I think they're going to perform really good this year.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to move now to football. We're going to give our game picks for Week 6, but before that, we got to talk about D's home cuts. So, I think we're all D's Home Cuts clients here.
Yep.
Every single time I talk about it, he's the best place around Northeast Ohio to get a fresh haircut at a low price. For only $7, you can get a modern haircut and styling. Like I said, we all three have been going there the last couple of months, and it gets better every single time. You got guys like Brian Leonard, who were kind of, afraid to go there. Then he goes to where you go, Buzz's Barber. Well, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
He went to a shop in Northeast Ohio, and they screwed his hair up, and he was pissed. Yeah. So where did Brian turn?
D's freaking
He
Home
went to
Cuts.
D's Home Cuts,
Yes.
and guess who fixed him up? Dom at D's Home Cuts. So, I mean, anytime you want to get a fresh cut, go to Dom. Like I said, they get better every single time because he's always upgrading his equipment so he can give you the best haircut and the best haircut experience possible. You can find D's Home Cuts on Instagram at D's Home Cuts. DM him for an appointment, and you will not be disappointed. D's Home Cuts, professional haircuts at a low price. All right, let's do game picks, week 6. Game tonight, Philadelphia at New York Giants. Like I said, I think the Giants are trash. I think they made a mistake signing Odell to a big deal last year. I think they made a mistake drafting Saquon Barkley. So I think they're on the downturn right now. So I'm going Philadelphia, who's also struggled, but I think Philadelphia is the more talented team.
It's in New York?
You're saying New York?
No, it's in New York, right?
It's in New York, yeah.
I'm going to go the Eagles. It's really close for me because, honestly, in New York, the Eagles have struggled. So the Giants, it could be a coming out party for either team, and there could be just one of these teams could smack the other team. But I'm just going to go Eagles tonight in a close game, but I think they're both going to perform well tonight because they haven't looked good at all this year.
Mm-mm.
I got Philly. The Giants
Yeah.
are dumpster
Trash.
fire.
Yeah.
They're horrible. Saquon Barkley's like the only good player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He can only do anything. Eli Manning, garbage.
Horrible.
The
I mean-
Eagles, not that much better.
No.
But they're just enough that they can beat the Giants. So
Eli Manning's done. I'm saying it now.
So
Eli
last
Manning's
year,
done,
he's-
yeah.
It was a big mistake, I think, not drafting a quarterback in the first round.
I mean, listen, Saquon's very good, and he's like a game-changing player. And it honestly looks like they'll have a high pick this year. So maybe they can get a quarterback this year. But,
I said it on the last show. Eli Manning is probably a top 5 quarterback you'd want to have your rookie sit behind.
yes.
Yes, because he's very
He
experienced.
has so much experience. He's been through it all. And he's a guy who I think would teach a guy how to be in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he would be a very good, kind of like one of those players, a veteran to learn behind. But this is last year. They need to get rid of him.
Yeah. All right, let's go next game. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Tampa Bay's coming off the bye week. Winston's the starter. I think Atlanta's the better team. I think Atlanta's not as good as they were a couple years ago, but I think they're better in Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is kind of going to fall here after that hot start.
I'm going to go Atlanta here. They're due for a win.
Definitely Atlanta.
Atlanta. All right, Pittsburgh at Cincy. This is an interesting game here. I'm going Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's the best team in the AFC North. Pittsburgh is coming back a little bit. I know they got punched in the mouth early, but they've come back, and I think Cincinnati is the best team, though, in that AFC North.
I'm going to go Steelers just because Cincinnati hasn't...
Cincinnati's your team.
I know, I kind of like the Bengals, but they haven't proved that they're going to stay like this, and I think this is a big game for them. It's a huge game for Cincinnati to kind of right the ship and be like, this is our division now. So I think this is going to be a big game, but I think the Steelers are going to win it just from years past.
I think it's Cincy. The Steelers have not been performing as of late. And they got Mason Schreck from Medina, that we all know.
Yeah. I mean, you can't beat that Medina presence in your locker room.
Absolutely not.
All right, Los Angeles Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. This is an interesting game as well. I think this would be a huge win for the Browns. I'm taking the Chargers, though. I think the Chargers are a little bit more talented than the Browns. The Browns' defense is top 5. Will we all agree? Yeah. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. I mean, they're going to be good for a couple years now. But I still think the Chargers are better. I think they have a better offense, and their defense is pretty solid. I think they'll be able to lock up Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers just because the Browns' defense, while it's one of the best in the NFL, but the offense, Baker Mayfield has looked good. He's made some explosive plays, but they haven't looked complete yet. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here, but I'm rooting for the Browns and Baker.
I'm going for the Browns.
Yeah.
They're 2-0-1 at home. Their fans are unreal. I think Baker's definitely going to be the top player of the game, and like you said, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, they're all gonna show out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being in that the home field and all that. You can't stop them.
Yeah. All right, next game, Buffalo and at Houston. I'm gonna take Buffalo here. I think Buffalo is one of these teams where nobody really expects much from him, but I think Josh Allen's kind of come into his own a little bit. He's getting more comfortable. I don't think Houston's as good as everybody thinks. Although Houston's been pretty good as of late, I could see Buffalo winning a close one.
I'm going to go Houston just because I think Houston's got a lot of talent. They just haven't put it all together yet. And I think Buffalo's one of those teams that you can kind of gauge your talent level and just kind of go out there and play football against.
I definitely got Houston. I just think they're the better team out there.
Mm-hmm. Chicago at Miami. Chicago, I'm not really sure what to think of both of these teams yet. I'm picking Chicago here just because I think Miami's not as good as everybody thinks. They started hot, but I don't know. I'm going to take Chicago here. I think Chicago's better than Miami.
I don't pick the Bears, so I'm going Miami.
You just flat out
don't pick the Bears.
I think I'm going to take the Bears on this one.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have another good game, good week. Trubisky's going to have another good game.
All right, Arizona at Minnesota. Josh Rosen had a good game last week. I just don't think Arizona's even close to Minnesota yet. Taking Minnesota at home.
I don't want to pick Minnesota, but I think I have to against Arizona, so I'm going to go Minnesota.
I got Minnesota, too.
Minnesota. Indianapolis at the New York Jets. I'm taking the Jets here. I like Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis is better than most people give them credit for, but I think the Jets are also better than most teams give them credit for. Isaiah Crowell has come into his own a little bit in the backfield there with the Jets. He's kind of been a headache for me with fantasy football-wise because every week I sit him, he goes off, and every week I start him, he sucks. We're starting him this week, though, but I'm going to take the Jets here. I think Darnold gets a nice win versus Indianapolis.
I think the Colts are due for a win. I think Andrew Luck's due for a win, so I'm going to go Colts.
I got the Colts. I think Andrew Luck's definitely better. He's gonna show out.
All right, Seattle at Oakland, but this is in London. So we don't really count home field advantage here. These are two pretty bad teams. Oakland, I think, is a little worse. Although I think Oakland is kind of inspired right now. They need to win, and I think they'll get the win here at London. Which I don't like games in London, but I mean, if we have to do it, I'm gonna take Oakland.
I'm gonna go ahead and take Seattle. I think they're under. I don't think they're good, and I don't think they'll make the playoffs. But I think they're not a team that you want to see on your schedule. So I'm going to go with Seattle. I love Gruden. I think Oakland's going to be good.
You like Gruden?
I love Gruden.
He's
Gruden.
I think I like him, but he's stupid. He's just not ready.
He's not stupid.
He's not ready for NFL football this year.
He's going to update his offense, and they'll be good in a couple of years. But this year, I'm going to go Seattle, and I don't think Oakland's that good.
Like when he does those interviews, and they're like, "Why are you struggling?" and he's like, "We don't have a pass rusher. We can't get pressure on the quarterback." That's really like he traded the best pass rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Mack was wanting a lot of money. Gruden's not going to give him a lot of money because he's stubborn. He's going to go develop a good player because he's the best coach.
He hasn't developed anybody yet.
I got Oakland only if they'll feed Marshawn the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If they stop passing instead of giving him the ball, I think they'll be successful.
Mm-hmm. All right, next game, Carolina at Washington. I know Josh is a Redskins fan.
I'm just going to say it right now, Washington.
You're just going to say Washington?
I'm just going to say it right now.
I like Washington. I think Washington plays a little bit to the level of their competition. If they play in a good team, they'll play well. If they're playing a bad team, they're not very good.
Well, they just got smoked by the Saints.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, we'll get Josh's comment on that in a minute here. But I'm gonna take the Panthers here. I think the Panthers are pretty solid.
You know what? Just for Josh, I'm gonna pick the Redskins.
My man.
So what happened Monday night?
I have honestly no idea. You're playing the Saints. They have a really good team. Drew Brees, I'm happy for him. Setting the record. But the Redskins came off the week of smacking the Packers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry that had to happen, but I think that they'll probably be inspired after getting smoked, and they're just going to come out and dominate.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about Drew Brees real quick. He mentioned it. Where do you rank Drew Brees all time? I talked about it on the last show. You think he's top 5 all time?
Yeah.
Top 5
all time. Where do you think he'd be if he was? I mean, I get he's short, and that doesn't really affect him much. Do you think he'd be easily one of the best if he was taller?
No, I think what makes Drew Brees so great is his shortness and his ableness to like slip around in the pocket kind of. But I don't think if he was like 2 inches taller, I don't think it'd make him much better.
I don't know. I think he's he's the most accurate quarterback of all time.
I mean, my guy Rodgers. But it's all right. I mean, I think Brees is top 5. So he's a great quarterback. Honestly, next to Rodgers, probably my favorite quarterback in the league.
All right, next game, Los Angeles Rams at Denver Broncos. Rams struggled a little bit last week, but the Broncos, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I'm taking the Rams.
Rams.
Yeah, definitely the Rams. I think, they're still the only undefeated team?
No, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
But Chiefs got a big game this week. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jacksonville at Dallas. I don't think Dallas is as good as everybody thinks. I think this is Jason Garrett's last year. I think this is finally the year they get rid of him. I think he should have been fired a couple years ago. But I'm taking Jacksonville here. I think Jacksonville's coming off of 2 losses, I believe, in a row. So I think Jacksonville needs a win, and they'll get it here.
Jacksonville easily. I think Dallas, in my opinion, sucks. I think Jason Garrett should have been gone 2-3 years ago. And I'm not too sold on Dak Prescott and all that, but Zeke is Zeke. But Jacksonville's defense should shut him down.
I'm having a hard time with this because I hate Jalen Ramsey.
You hate Jalen Ramsey?
I hate him. His attitude, everything. But then again, Dallas fans are the worst too. So there's that. But I like the Jaguars just based on that.
I like Bortles a lot. I think Jacksonville is like my AFC team, I think. I really like Blake Bortles. Now, Truman doesn't like him for some reason. It makes no sense, but...
Gets carried by his defense.
He didn't get carried by his defense. He had 400 passing yards last week.
Gets carried by his defense. Jalen Ramsey, hate him, just like Josh does, but he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, you gotta give him that. He's good. All right, Baltimore at Tennessee. I'm not really sure what to think of Tennessee. They'll either go out there and win. It will be an ugly win if they do win. Tennessee always plays ugly games. I'm going to go Baltimore here, though. I think Baltimore's better than Tennessee by a lot.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's a good team who kind of just got shut down by a really good Cleveland defense last week. I think their defense is fantastic and should shut down an already kind of crappy offense for the Titans. And they should score more points because the Titans' defense isn't as good as the Browns.
Yeah, I got the Ravens. I think they were kind of shocked going into Cleveland. They should have definitely won that game, but kind of got overwhelmed, so I think they'll definitely overtake the Titans.
All right, next game. This is the best game of the week. Easily, I think this is the best game all season so far. Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs at the Patriots. Bill Belichick and the Patriots have a little bit of a history. Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Big game for Pat Mahomes. He had a big game last week, prime time. This is the biggest game of his career. What are you thinking here, Truman?
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I think the Patriots still are the Patriots, and they probably will be in the AFC Championship again. But I just think the Chiefs are more talented, and I think that will come into play. And I think it's gonna take Belichick 1 or 2 times to play the Chiefs before he figures them out, if he ever does. But I'm gonna go Chiefs here, just because they're the hot hand right now.
I like the Chiefs. I think definitely in their matchups before, the Chiefs have been the stronger. Patriots, like Truman said, they're the Patriots. They're guaranteed to make the playoffs pretty much, but I think the Chiefs are going to give some struggles, and Chiefs have been playing really well, so I think it's going to translate into a good game.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs a lot. I think Mahomes is the future of this league. But I picked against the Patriots. I picked them against the Dolphins. Then after that, I said I'd never pick against the Patriots again, as long as Brady and Belichick are still running things there. So I'm picking the Patriots here because I can't pick against the Patriots again.
It's understood.
I got a lot of heat from that, and I can't pick against the Patriots ever again.
Understood.
So last game, Monday night, San Francisco at Green Bay. We're all taking Green Bay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna say.
Look at Josh. He knows.
As I'm being threatened.
Yeah. He knows. There's no way. Well, there is a way.
If the Packers lose this game, Mike McCarthy should be on a ship out of America. And I don't know. Bad things would happen if Green Bay loses this game, so I don't think they will. They need a confidence booster before they go on their bye week, and then they have to play the Rams and the Patriots back to back.
Is it? Oh, yeah, we got a bye week after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, that's our schedule up there.
Nice.
All right, that's it for game picks. I think that's all we're going to talk about NFL, unless anybody want to talk about anything else.
No, but I think that's
no.
Hate Jalen Ramsey.
Josh hates Jalen Ramsey. Truman hates him too. All right, we're going to go to NCAA football now. We didn't get to talk to Truman after that Badgers loss versus BYU.
Shit.
BYU has a football
Before
team.
Christ?
BYU has a football team.
We came off big wins in Iowa and against Nebraska.
Okay,
so
Nebraska's not a big win. They're
fine.
only 0-5.
We're doing fine. I think we'll take our side of the Big Ten, and Ohio State better watch out.
Well, this is a big week this week for you guys. You got Michigan at Michigan, 7:30 prime time under the lights in the big house.
Ooh. Big
Thoughts?
I mean, we'll be split screening Brewers and the Badgers because we're playing for a World Series up in Milwaukee. But I think it's going to be a huge game. This is a big game for Wisconsin to jump back in. I think if they win, you're going to jump back in the top 10.
Wait, what are you going to do Monday night? Packers play. Brewers will probably be playing then too.
Brewers are going to be on the on my computer, and the Packers will be on TV.
Okay, so what are you going to look at more?
There will be it's going to be set to where I'm watching both at the same time. One eye on this team and then the other eye on that team.
All right, so Wisconsin at Michigan. You think you guys got a shot here?
Yeah, I think this is a huge game for Wisconsin and Paul Chryst.
You're not scared?
No, I'm not scared. I think if we win this game, we're going to jump back in the top 10, and then everyone's like, holy shit, here come the Badgers again. And then we're going to be back in the Big Ten Championship where we belong.
Where you
and
lose
this year
again.
is the year where we take down Ohio State. So I'm going to go.
Every year is the year, Josh, that they're going to take down Ohio State.
This is the year.
It's every year.
I hate Ohio State, so I hope they do.
Who's your college team?
I like Notre Dame.
Notre Dame?
Okay.
I had them in my playoff predictions last show, so I like Notre Dame. But every year it's we're gonna beat Ohio State this year. This is the year, but again.
Well, will you guys have the refs this year or not?
Because we don't have refs on paid.
Because we were gonna score the winning touchdown, and you guys tackled the receiver before he got the ball. And
yeah, but we would have smacked you guys last year.
Columbus has this thing, Josh. You can probably attest this. They have a producer of refs down in Columbus.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a machine that they just pop out.
Yep.
It's in Columbus. They have a brain to think like Ohio State fans.
And if Ohio State loses, you can just see everyone like all these excuses. Oh, this happened and this happened.
Oh,
they
Urban
cannot
Meyer had a heart
accept
attack
losses.
on the sideline, stuff like that.
You can't accept anything.
We have a machine producing refs. We have a machine producing just straight up 5-star first round pick NFL talent.
And that helps when you have refs every single game.
We have this year Dwayne Haskins, who I think is the most accurate quarterback in the country, the best quarterback in the country in terms of passing.
You ever heard of Tua?
In terms of passing, you think Tua's a better passer than Dwayne?
Yeah, because I saw Tua.
You think Tua's a better passer than Dwayne Haskins?
I saw Tua at halftime.
Versus what? Little Rock State?
Alabama was up, I think, 24-31-0. Tua was 9 for 9.
Okay,
200 some odd yards. 3 touchdowns. And then they took him out for Jalen Hurts because they're like, okay, this kid's
But who's that
insane.
against? Savannah State FBS D2?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Tulane. You guys played Tulane.
Yeah, Ohio State, the only game they've played is like, what, Penn State?
Penn
That's
State.
the only tough game that they've played.
TCU and Penn State.
TCU is overrated as hell.
Top 15 ranked
TCU
teams.
is overrated as hell. Texas beat TCU.
Yeah, Texas just beat Oklahoma. You saying Oklahoma sucks?
Texas is back. You're saying Texas is back.
Yeah, Texas is back.
They say that every year.
They beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the best
Texas
team.
and Ohio State fans, they work together. They're like the two biggest, most worst fan bases in college.
Ohio State fans, they'll play the garbage teams of the year and think, wow, we are so good. We just won 62-0. This is it. And then you see Alabama, they play the same teams and they win big, but they're commenting on how garbage their defense is. They can win 62-0 and still find problems. Ohio State is, we're great, we're the greatest team ever.
Well, I'm a firm proponent that Urban Meyer's a better coach than Nick Saban. I think that's been clear in head-to-head matchups.
How many times they played? Like twice?
Urban Meyer was in the SEC with Florida.
Oh, yeah. How many times did they play, though?
I don't know the exact record, but I know Urban Meyer's beating him. I know the last time they played, Urban Meyer took him to the woodshed. I know the last time Urban Meyer played Wisconsin, 3 years ago in the Big Ten Championship, he took you guys to the woodshed. We would have destroyed you last year if JT Barrett could complete a pass, but we made it a little closer than we wanted.
We would have won the game if you didn't have the refs. It's the one sport. Like, I honestly do not complain about referees that much.
Yes, you do.
No, I honestly don't. And
Clay Matthews hit a couple hits.
Everyone knows that was BS.
Yes.
But that is the college football, and Ohio State is the one thing I truly think you guys have a work in. Like, you guys have known to been like kind of like shitty, and like you guys do stuff against NCAA rules. You guys like beat wives and stuff like that.
We don't.
So like I think there is like something that you guys have with the refs. Like, I'm not even kidding you. That is like my biggest hot take. Even if I don't even think it's a hot take. I think it's pretty known that the Ohio State gets everything.
Well, we're going to go on here. Ohio State plays Minnesota this week. We should be able to take care of them.
Yeah, Minnesota. Great.
Yeah, your rivals. Next game, we're going to talk about Georgia at LSU. Georgia's number 2, LSU's 13. I know LSU lost last week versus a pretty good Florida team. This is a big game for Coach O and the Tigers to kind of bounce back because if they beat Georgia, they're right back where they were. Georgia's second best team in the country, third best team in the country, depending on who you ask. I think they're the third best team. I think Ohio State's second best team. I think Ohio State's the first best team, but we won't talk about that. But I think LSU could win this game. Joe Burrow, former Ohio State, I root for LSU. So I'm going to take LSU. I think they could upset Georgia.
I love Georgia, and I think this is their first huge game of the year. And Jake Fromm is fantastic. I think he hasn't played all that great because Georgia hasn't played great teams, but he hasn't played all that great this year. Because I don't think he's been under the bright lights. And I think once he gets under the bright lights against LSU, a good team in LSU, I think Jake Fromm's going to perform at a high level, and I think Georgia's going to win.
All right. Well, who do you think?
I like LSU. I like their mentality, their culture.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough game against Florida, but I think they're just going to come out. And is it at LSU?
Yeah, it's at LSU. So
I'm taking LSU for sure.
Yeah. Last game that the 2 ranked teams are playing. There's only 3 ranked teams playing against each other. Washington at Oregon, 7 versus 17. I think Washington's fantastic too. I think Jake Browning is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Washington's coach, what's his name?
I know. I have no idea.
I cannot tell you. He's one of these guys. I don't know his name, but I know he's a hot NFL coaching candidate next year because his offense is just like he's like a mini Sean McVay type of thing. Offensive guy. Packers at the Packers just in case. I like Washington. I don't think Oregon's that good. I don't think Oregon should be ranked 17.
I'm gonna go Washington.
Even though Oregon has probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Washington.
Just because you have all those uniforms does not translate into having a good football team.
Yeah, that's correct. Oregon's always been overrated just because they're just like a cool...
Yeah, you remember when we beat them in the national championship?
I mean, I like Oregon just because of their uniforms.
Yeah, that's how most people are. That's how most people are. But they're not that great of a football team right now.
No.
I definitely got Washington.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move now to some hockey talk. We don't talk a lot of hockey here, but Josh, we had to bring him in because he's going to help us through this. Before that, though, A's Lawn Service, best place around Northeast Ohio, around Ohio to get your lawn cut. Like I say, it's football, college football, high school football is wrapping up, NFL football, so you got your weekend booked. You got playoff baseball now. So there's really no time. I mean, you can't find any time in your schedule to go mow the lawn and do leaves now with fall coming up. It's also cold out. You don't want to be wasting your time. So turn to A's. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. The phone number is 330-241-2392, and the email is lawnservice.a's@gmail.com. A's Lawn Service, LLC. You grow it, we cut it. So hockey, Josh want to come on, help us. We don't know a lot about hockey, right, Trent?
Oh, that's why we brought the expert in.
I like hockey.
George Zimmer told me that we should have him instead of you because...
All right, George, whatever.
All right, so we'll start off. I know the season, we're about a week in right now. What teams do you like? What teams...
I mean, I like the Maple Leafs. They picked up John Tavares from the Islanders. That was probably one of the most controversial topics in New York, almost burned down because of it. But they are probably offensively the most stacked team in the league. It's basically guaranteed they're going to be in the playoffs. But they need to work on their goaltending a little bit. Their defense is a little shady, but I think they got it. Tavares has already put up a hat trick. Austin Matthews, who is probably one of the best American-born players ever.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. But no, he's amazing. He had so many goals he had 4 goals in his first ever game in the NHL. He's not stopping now. He's on track for like 100 goals this year already. I think they got the Sharks. They picked up Erik Karlsson this year. That was a big deal because they have Brent Burns already on defense and Erik Karlsson. So the Norris Trophy is for the best defenseman, and so both of those guys are going to be up for that trophy. So that's going to be kind of hard to get past them. They have a great goalie, Martin Jones. And then the Capitals, I think they're going to make it back.
To the Stanley Cup?
I don't know. I mean,
No?
you got to get past the Maple Leafs,
Yeah.
Eastern Conference. It's going to be tough. I think they're back in it. They're not, slumping off.
Didn't somebody from the Capitals? He got suspended for 20 games.
Let me talk about that.
Wilson?
All right, Tom Wilson. I love Tom Wilson. Okay.
20 games he got suspended, Truman.
He
for a hit.
drilled some guy in the preseason. Got 20 games.
Oh,
I think
shit.
it's just because he has that kind of mentality. Like,
Was it some Clay Matthews bullshit?
I think so.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, I always liked, laying people out and stuff like that. The play was, the dude was coming in the zone, crossed the center, Tom Wilson came in and just steamrolled him.
Yeah, it was a good hit. It was a solid hit.
I think it's a good hit.
Yeah.
Yes, he got his head hit, but that's just momentum. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Shoulder into head, it's going to happen. The guy that got hit should have got a penalty for coming across the train tracks when Tom Wilson's on the ice. I think the NHL, just like pretty much every other sport, is becoming soft now, and they need to stop this. Tom Wilson is a gamer. I could go on for days about Tom Wilson. But
I mean, I don't know a lot about hockey, but it seems like 20 games is a lot.
it mostly goes off of your past.
Yeah, he got
Your
Did he get a little history to him?
Yeah,
last postseason he got a couple calls, right?
Yeah, he did, but I think they're just kind of.
He's just a gamer, right? That's just hockey.
They just hate him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Rafi Torres, I think, is the longest suspension. I think that was 40 games or something.
Jeez.
Almost killed some guys. So Tom Wilson's up there with him, almost. But
Yeah.
I love Tom Wilson. He's great.
So last year, I was saying if Las Vegas would have won the Cup, that would have been one of the best stories in sports history.
Yeah, I think so.
This year, they're struggling a little bit so far.
Yeah, I have the notes here. So last night, Vegas and the Capitals played rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals. Capitals took it 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, Vegas has been outshooting their opponents 135 to 101 so far this season, and they're 1-3.
Wow.
It just doesn't translate for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I think last year, their first year, was kind of a one-hit wonder. I was glad the Capitals won.
Yeah.
They deserved it. Ovechkin deserved it, but I just don't know what's going on with Vegas. They picked up the captain from Montreal, Max Pacioretty. They should be producing, but it's kind of a slump, but you never know what could happen.
So, obviously, we're in Ohio. You're not a Blue Jackets fan.
No.
You're Red Wings?
Red Wings all the way, which sucks. Yeah.
But we'll talk. Where do you see the Blue Jackets? How far do you see them going? I know they're young. They had a pretty decent year last year.
I see them making the playoffs again. They're probably going to be matched up against Pittsburgh again, like they always do.
And who wins that?
It could go either way. The Blue Jackets were up last year in the series, and the Penguins came back and won. So I hate the Penguins. I hate Sidney Crosby. He's a great player. I respect him, but he's like the Tom Brady of the NHL.
We have Johnny Glad on here a lot. He's a big Sidney Crosby fan.
Yes, and we butt heads a lot with that. But I think the Blue Jackets could do it this year. They got Zach Werenski and Seth Jones back. It's gonna be a good year for them.
All right, give me a team. I know you talk about the Maple Leafs, the Capitals, stuff like that. Give me a team that could surprise us.
I think the Sabres are going to surprise you. This is the first time, and I think it's 5 years that they're over 500.
Mm-hmm.
They have Jack Eichel, Ike Daddy. They just named him captain. He changed his number. It's a new year for them. They got the number 1 overall pick, Rasmus Dahlin. He's playing. He's 18 years old, playing against these guys. He's great. I think this is really going to be the year. I think they make the playoffs, honestly.
Mm-hmm. So then, they've surprised us. Give us a team that could disappoint us.
Disappoint? Vegas.
Vegas?
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's sad to see when you go to the Stanley Cup final and then you're 1-3. But they need to get back in their groove, man. I don't know.
I get last year was cool for them to go, but I mean the fan base is kind of spoiled now.
Yeah,
so they're going to expect them to go every single year to the playoffs, to the Stanley Cup. And this was just their first year. They shouldn't have even been there.
No.
And now they're struggling. All right, we got a couple question and answer. We're going to go to that. NBA or NHL? Why is there so much a beef between the two leagues?
Because the NBA is soft. That's why. They're overpaid. You breathe on someone in the NBA and you get called for a foul. You can't do anything. NHL is just probably one of the toughest sports to play. You got dudes trying to rip your head off while you're just trying to balance on 1/8 of an inch on a metal blade. It's not. I don't find any fun in the NBA. Well, obviously besides Jimmy Butler, that thing's great.
That's fun.
Yeah,
that's great.
But when did it start? You just just started super teams, like stuff like that, when that started really happening?
This past year with the super team, that kind of turned people around, like, what is the NBA turning into?
Yeah.
And I think the good thing with the NHL is, like, you can kind of predict, like, the top 4 teams in the league, like, who they're going to be, who's probably going to make the playoffs just right off the bat. But then you never know who's going to be, like, those bottom teams to slide through and in. But we can basically guarantee who's going to win, like, the West, and we can basically guarantee who's going to win the East in the NBA, and that's not fun at all.
No.
Well, like, the thing that an 8 seed is never going to beat a 1 seed in the NBA.
Never.
Like, and like in NHL, it's kind of always up for grabs. Like, yeah, the 1 seed's probably going to go with Stars because they're the best team, they deserve it. But there's always,
like, nobody predicted Las Vegas last year. Like, that would have never happened in the NBA.
At the start of the season, no one predicted Las Vegas to go to Stanley Cup.
I think 2013 or something like that, the Los Angeles Kings, they were the last seed, and they came all the way up, and they won the Stanley Cup. They were the last seed. Like, that would never happen in the NBA.
Not at all.
Ever.
And then you got, like, LeBron goes out because he has cramps. It's too hot. And
in the Spurs series.
Yeah. Then you got, like, an NHL guy, like...
You got Zach Werenski, who's in the playoffs.
Got hit in the face.
Slap shot to the face, is bleeding out, gets stitched up, goes right back out. LeBron would be out, like, 2 years minimum if that ever happened to him. He is so soft.
It's ridiculous. And then every time he drives in the lane, he gets hit, he complains. You don't see NHL guys complaining.
If someone breathes on him, he is going to put his arms up in the air and complain.
I don't think LeBron could even play back in the 90s or the 80s. They abused each other in the paint back then.
Yeah.
LeBron would never be able to play. Everyone talks about, LeBron and MJ. I think LeBron would never be able to play because he would just be crying the whole entire time.
He'd have his arms up the
entire time.
And
then when like 2 NHL guys have a problem, they just fight. And, like, that would never happen in the NBA.
They beat the crap out of each other, and then they say, good fight. Like, there's also no respect in the NBA. Like, the NBA is just a bunch of guys just trash-talking each other. 7 feet guys putting a ball in a hoop. Like, yeah, great. Congratulations, It makes me mad on SportsCenter. All you see is guys dunking. Sweet, dude. Like, you jumped a little bit off the air and put a ball in a hoop. You're great.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot harder to put a little puck into a net
with a big guy.
While someone's trying to stop you, while you're getting killed, while you're trying to balance doing all of this,
makes no sense.
NBA, in my opinion, is garbage.
Yeah. So we said Red Wings. You're a Red Wings fan.
Yes.
What's wrong with them? Why are they so bad?
I have no idea. They've always been prone to injury. Their guys are getting old. Their key guys are getting older. And they can't get rid of them because... their GM signs them to huge deals that they're not worth at all, and then nobody wants to take them. You can't get rid of them, so you're stuck until you draft some more. I think they kind of set themselves up good, though. They have a good farm program, the minors and all of that. They have a couple guys coming up from that, but they're in a rebuild phase. They had the 25 years straight in the playoffs, like one of the best playoff records ever, and then they go down to this. They're playing the Maple Leafs tonight. They're going to get absolutely destroyed. And if you bet on games and stuff, if you see a Maple Leafs game, you bet the over.
Yeah.
Every time they've had 15 goals in the Blackhawks game, so it was like 8-7 the Maple Leafs won. The next game they put up 7 goals.
Jeez.
It's not good. Toronto, Detroit is a really big rivalry though, so you might show up. The Red Wings just have a young team, They just kind of got to find their groove and get back into it. It's sad though, We're basically becoming the Browns. We're gonna have to rebuild. It's unfortunate.
I don't know if you'll be as bad as the Browns.
They haven't won a game yet. They're 0-1-3 or 0-1-2.
Yeah.
So we still need that first.
At least you tied.
Win. Yeah, that's true.
Got some points.
Yeah.
But if they beat the Maple Leafs tonight, we're playoff bound. I'm just calling it right now. Playoff bound.
All right. So we'll go from one team struggle to the next. Packers. Sherman talked about it. What's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? What's wrong with the Packers? Why are we struggling so much?
Well, I think it's the Packers are starting slow, and the Packers are used to starting slow. I think we see Aaron Rodgers a couple years. He says RELAX, relax, and then he'll go next year. He says we're gonna run the table, and they end the season very strong. They get some games under their belt, and they make the playoffs. But the start of the season screws us because in the playoffs we have to travel to places that you don't want to travel to, like Arizona and stuff like that, and that's why we get beat in the divisional round or the NFC Championship. And that's what's killing me. I think it's just gonna be the same thing as we usually see. I think the Packers, They'll win Monday night. They'll be 3-2-1. Then we go off the bye week. We go to Los Angeles, and then we go to Foxborough and play the Patriots. I think we're probably going to win one of those games, and then we're going to be off and running, and we'll win some games, lose some games, and they'll be in the playoffs, and they'll end up, going to a tough place like Los Angeles or something like that, and we'll be in the same situation as usual. I don't think there's anything truly wrong with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time. I think he's losing trust. He doesn't have trust. He doesn't have Jordy there. He's got a new.
Is that still the worst move in the last couple years?
I wouldn't have got. Yeah, that's the worst move any Wisconsin sports team's ever made. I think Jimmy Graham, the number 2 target for him right now is Jimmy Graham. They're still getting new to Jimmy Graham. Devontae Adams, he's playing great. But other than that, he's not familiar with these receivers. He doesn't have much trust in these receivers, so I think he's holding back on some throws, and it's not helping him. If Jordy was there, he'd have his safety blanket in Jordy, and we'd be scoring touchdown after touchdown. And also, I'm not a big fan right now of Mike McCarthy. I think if we lose,
talk about that a little bit.
If we lose some games, the only way I want Mike McCarthy there next year is if we make it to the Super Bowl. If we lose in the playoffs, I want him gone. If we lose any more games in the regular season, I want him gone. And
you hear him, Mike? You hear him?
I want him gone. I want him out of my sight. I want him literally on a ship to Europe or something. I just need him out of there.
Aaron Jones is the best running back in the NFC North easily. And he gets no carries in the second half, Josh. Yeah. No carries. That how does that make sense to anybody?
It doesn't make it.
He played 25% of offensive snaps, and he's the best running back in the NFC
and I don't even blame McCarthy for that, because we're down 24-0. You just got to put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands and say, go do a miracle.
But Rodgers isn't healthy. You're supposed to rely on your running backs.
The reason we couldn't do that is because we were down 24-0, because Mike McCarthy literally does not have his team ready to play. You go to Detroit, you should be beating Detroit. Detroit is shit. You go to Washington. Washington, you should be beating Washington.
No, never.
You should not
Adrian
be starting
Peterson
slow.
is 60 years old.
Yes.
Should not be rushing for almost 200 yards.
He's a beast.
You start. We would have beat Washington if we didn't start so slow, and we would have beat Detroit if we didn't start so slow. And not to mention, Mason Crosby did us no favors last week. So I'm not gonna say, we would have beat Detroit if Mason Crosby makes some of those field goals. So I'm not gonna say anything really about last week, because we had a kicking game and we have a reliable kicker, Mason Crosby, up to last week. So I think last week was a little bit of a fluke.
The first half of most of these, pretty much every single game, the first half is like watching AIDS. It's the worst possible thing.
The only game we played very well in the first half was against the Vikings, which we ended up
Or
tying.
the Bills, I guess you could say.
No, we didn't play good against the Bills.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers looked bad against the Bills.
It was the defense. Mike Pettin, he has a whole week to prepare, and he comes out and sucks it up in the first half. But then he goes into the halftime, and 15 minutes he's out, and he's got the whole defense working well. Clay Matthews isn't what he used to be. We have no pass rush. Our rookie corners are playing well. They just can't stay healthy. Josh Jackson is decent. They can't stay healthy. We signed Breeland, and he hasn't played in 3 weeks, so we basically signed an injured guy for no reason. It just, I don't know. You know Breeland, right? Redskins, but it's just frustrating.
How can you pass rush in the NFL anymore?
Yeah, honestly? Yeah, it's true. And then the first 3 weeks, Clay Matthews
and the refs do us no favors. And I'm not complaining about the refs, but I am at the same time.
The hit on Alex Smith was...
Football is soft.
Yeah,
plain and simple, football is soft.
The refs have done us no favors. Starting slow has done us no favors. Injuries have done us no favors. But I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be the Packers in a couple weeks, so I'm not ready to freak out just yet.
All right. Well, that's it for our show today. We want to thank you to our sponsors, D's Home Cuts and A's Lawn Service. If you haven't checked D's Home Cuts out yet, what are you doing? You don't know how to get a fresh haircut for only $7. I don't think I've ever found a better place. I don't think I've ever found a haircut place that cuts hair for $7.
No, and we're looking fresh.
Yeah. He actually last night he expanded to girls too. He did a girls cut last night. So ladies, watch out.
Hey.
We ask you go into iTunes, give us 5 stars, rate, review us, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at TNT Sports Talk 12. That's where you can DM us if you want to be a guest. DM us questions, whatever you want to talk about. Our DMs are always open. Our Instagram, she's struggling right now. Truman's the Instagram leader.
I don't know what's going on.
The login is lost.
The login's lost.
Great.
Everything's lost, but it's okay. You got our Twitter. And you got me and Trav. And
all right.
So we're all right.
We got us on 12 Ounce tomorrow, too. You want to listen from 12 to 1. 12 Ounce is a great up-and-coming sports network. You can listen to us on their YouTube. You can also find us on there if you don't have a iPhone. Other than that, any other thoughts, guys?
Nope, I think that's about it.
All right, we want to thank Josh for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Truman.
Go Packers.
Back on today.
Hey, Brewers are going to the World Series.
Yeah, we'll have him back on to talk about this once the Brewers get knocked out or whatever. And then we'll have Josh on again, help us break down, hockey. Again, we're lost on hockey, so it's nice having him in today to help us walk us through it a little bit. Other than that, have a great day and tune in on Tuesday.
Go Packers.